What if the future growth of the vacation rental industry depends less on OTAs and more on relationships? Today on the Hospitality Breakroom. Welcome to the Hospitality Breakroom, the podcast where we talk about the real conversation shaping the vacation rental industry. This season, we're diving into a topic that's becoming more important than ever: the relationship between vacation rentals and travel planners. For years, hotels have built strong partnerships with travel advisors and planners, while many vacation rental operators have struggled to understand how to work within that ecosystem. But that's changing. Today's travelers are looking for more personalized experiences, more space, and more curated stays. Travel planners are increasingly helping clients discover professionally managed vacation rentals as part of that experience. Throughout this season, we'll talk with travel planners, industry leaders, and hospitality professionals to better understand how these partnerships work, where the opportunities are, and what our industry can do to build stronger relationships with the advisor community. Whether you're a property manager, host, hospitality brand, or travel advisor, this season is designed to help bridge the gap between vacation rentals and the world of travel planning. Thanks for joining us in the break room. Let's get into today's episode. Hi, and welcome back to the Hospitality Breakroom. I'm Rachel Alday, and I own Abode Luxury Rentals with my husband, Rob. And I'm here with Tilly, aka Rachel Tilton, who's been part of the Abode team for 12, 10,
I'm in my 11th year.
11 years.
Yes.
And it's been a long and winding road, but she's still here with us, which says a lot, and we're super grateful. And her and I are going to be talking about, like I said on the initial little intro that I did, we are going to be talking about travel planners. And this is like a really hot topic for Abode. And I think that it's a hot topic for the vacation rental industry overall, and it's getting hotter. And so Tilly has been handling our reservations at Abode for all these years, and she sort of like manages over this team that we have of really cool people, and we have a group of really good people that handle reservations. But Tilly's been here the longest; she has the most experience, and so her and I are going to talk about on this episode our experience so far at Abode doing reservations with travel planners. And there have been like a lot of trials and tribulations. And we've over the years, really tried to think through ways that it could be better. And we've been doing some work more recently to take action on some of those things. And I think, there's an influx in travel planners in general in the travel and hospitality industry. There's an influx of reservations that are booked by travel planners. The bulk of that happens with hotels because travel planners generally, like say Fora Travel is one of the really big companies, they book through the GDS system, I believe, which is like the software, like the basis of the software that they use. And it's really where, like flights and hotel reservations and things like that are housed. It's an older software. So it really doesn't allow for vacation rentals to be part of that because it works off of room types. And with hotels, the room type scenario can be good. But with vacation rentals, it would be like every single room would kind of have to go in there every single property would kind of have to go in as its own hotel, which I think is just like it doesn't work. These two systems don't work together. Like the reservations for vacation rentals and the way it would be entered into the GDS, like is not really congruent. It's not conducive for the way the system is built. So we have that as an initial issue. And then we also have the fact that because the travel planners are so used to booking through a system like the GDS, the way that they think about booking their guests at a vacation rental property, it's sort of like based off of the structure of what's in the GDS and not understanding the way that vacation rentals are like made available, the way that we list them online. And so there's, automatically this like information gap. But there's also just like a process gap in the way that they're used to doing things and the way that it would work with vacation rentals, knowing that each home is generally owned by a separate owner and all of that. So we're going to talk about some of those things today. And then in the future, I know I mentioned before that Vanessa, who is one of the top 100 for travel planners, that she was going to be on. So she'll be on the next episode. But today, I think this will be a great like peek behind the curtain of people who might be wondering, like, well, why is it hard? If you're a newer vacation rental, if you're a person who's newer to the vacation rental industry, you might be like, I don't understand. Why is this hard? So we're going to give you some examples today. And then you might be wondering, like I am, I mean, how could we make this work? There must be a way. Like I've been not giving up for 18 years. Like there must be a way. And then to that, I would say, hopefully Tilly and I will give some light on like what we see as some possibilities as like a sneaky way through the door to finally get to that place where hopefully in the future, vacation rentals can be more easily distributed through that travel planner channel. And I have some notes on my phone that I'm going to pull up. Okay. So one of the questions that I had was I wanted to talk about stories when someone is trying to book a reservation with Abode at one of the properties that we manage, a travel planner, when a travel planner is trying to book a reservation, and like a story about when that went well. And I do think this is sadly kind of rare because it can be really difficult, but it's not impossible. So like do you have an example, Tilly?
Yes. So, thank you for
Mhm.
having me on.
You're
I'm
welcome.
honored to be at this round table of the
We're in the actual break
discussion.
room. Like it's called the
Yes.
Hospitality Breakroom because
Yeah.
we're in the Abode break room for real in front of the library at our old vintage terrazzo table.
It's so
So
beautiful.
we're not even we're not faking it. It's for real. Okay.
Yes. So do y'all remember that thing that we had a few years back? I can't remember the year, but it was called like COVID.
Not me. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
right.
Mhm.
And during that time, there was a little sporting event called the Olympics.
I
And
seem to remember that.
yes, and here in Park City, we have so many Olympians
Yep.
per capita that we could really be our own country.
Yeah.
And so I had the honor of being reached out to by a travel planner that wanted to host a viewing party.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
For the family members
Mhm.
of Olympic athletes, and the
Yeah.
family members weren't able to go to Beijing to go see their child.
Because of COVID.
Right.
Oh my God, I remember this.
Right.
Tilly didn't tell me what her answers are going to be.
No,
This is fun.
no.
Okay.
So, what I really appreciate is kind of being talked to as a real person by
Mhm.
travel planners.
Yes.
And I mean, humility goes a long way.
Yeah.
And we're all in sales. So, sell me, that's
Right.
what I really, really like. So this person was, very excited about the properties that we offered.
Mhm.
They had done their due diligence
Uh-huh.
already, so
Yeah.
they came to the table with, we really think from looking at your website, because you guys spend a lot of money and time on the website,
Yeah.
you should know it. They had it kind of dialed into a handful of homes.
Okay.
And then I, with my expertise, was able to ask questions like, I mean, are you going to have anybody sleeping there? Are you going to need, remember the ramp?
Oh
We had
yeah.
to get a ramp in case
Yes.
anybody, because it was not just
Yes.
the
Yes.
the Olympics, it was also the Paralympics
Yes.
afterwards.
Yep.
So are you going to need to have different ways to get into the house? They wanted to have, I think, a food truck.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. They wanted to have a food truck outside. So then
Mhm.
that would depend like which house, if we were allowed to do that, or
Yep.
if there was room for it.
Yep. And then there's all these other back end things that, regularly when I put heads in beds, you don't have to think about,
Yeah.
but like they're streaming. They need
Uh-huh.
the absolute
Certain level of Wi-Fi.
Yep. And
Mhm.
TVs. And, you have to work in tandem with an owner. Are you willing to put in this
Yeah.
size TV, for this kind of gain? And it was just a really, really positive experience that I think that, I mean, the families were just so grateful
Yeah.
to be kind of held by the travel planner and us to be made to feel special.
Yeah. So that's like a travel planner that came to us. And I think the reason it sounds like part of the reason, at least, that went well is like you said, that was like someone who was really professional.
Mhm.
They knew what they were doing. They understood the research about looking at different options. They then took the time to like understand as much as they could without talking to us, like the portfolio that we have and
Right.
like which ones would be good. And so then when you're talking, it wasn't like, you were introducing the concept of vacation rentals to them. They actually did a bunch of like prep work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they
absolutely.
were like, it sounds like I remember this sort of. I wasn't involved in those conversations, but I remember hearing about it as you were doing it. And it was like they were respectful and kind as they were asking questions for us.
Mhm.
And some of it we had to get answers from the homeowner. And they were like getting that, okay, we'll get back to you in a day or whatever.
Mhm.
And I think that's like another area, another example of like where travel planners can sometimes like it can be hard to book with them because they're used to booking with hotels where you're not going back to like an ownership group, right? Like there's an operator at a hotel. So if there are questions for something that this guest might need, then they can talk to just about anyone at that hotel and like get the answer. And it could be immediate, right? Like the answer probably exists in a document somewhere. Whereas with us, a lot of times there's homeowners involved. So it's like it's not like a budget decision for us, like, can we get this TV in this house or can we up the Wi-Fi?
Mhm.
It's more like we have to get approval from the homeowner.
Right.
Like, "Hey, they're gonna reimburse you for this, but they need to get the Wi-Fi updated, but we have to make sure the homeowner okays it," right?
Mhm.
Because it's their contract with the Wi-Fi provider or
Right.
whatever. And so, we've run into things where the travel planner is then, like, pissy because 'cause they're kind of like, "Is it yes or no?" And
Right.
we're like, "Well, we just have to ask this homeowner.
Mhm.
Hopefully, they'll respond." And it sounds like this travel planner, like, they understood what was behind it.
Mhm.
So I feel
They knew
like
their
yeah.
needs and they knew how to express what their needs would be. And then because, I mean, imagine, I really want travel planners to understand. It was a trainer that you guys had brought in that told us this. Like,
Mhm.
basically, Abode is in charge of 130
Right.
hotels in Park City, 30 in Jackson,
Yeah.
20 plus in Sun Valley
Yeah.
now. So to have somebody say, is it an extra long twin
Right.
bunk or is it a standard size twin bunk? I can't just run over,
Yes.
to the house. It takes a lot of people to go and check that out. We will check it out, but
Right.
those kind of very specialized questions
Yes.
are
Like how
challenging.
long is the bed?
Right.
Like, you're saying that it's a extra long twin, but how many inches is it? And
Mhm.
it's like, we have a lot of the data about the houses in our listings and
Mhm.
in our property information document for each property. But when there's some certain questions we might never have been asked before, or if it's like a newer property to the portfolio, then sometimes we have to like go to the house and find out. Like I think I remember with this one that you're talking about that it was like they wouldn't need a ramp if the lift from
Uh-huh.
the if like
Right. If you could pop
yeah.
up a wheelchair or
Yeah, it was
something like
like
that.
because we were all figuring that there was, like, some sort of a height difference from the floor of the garage to coming into the house,
Mhm.
and so it was like, how many inches is that? Is it 2?
Mhm.
Is it 3? Because
Right.
if it's 2, then we'll be fine, and if it's 3 it was something like that.
Yes.
So we had to, like, go measure,
Mhm.
because of the door jamb or
Right.
whatever, stuff like that, and so, like, at a hotel, that might be standard information, that kind of stuff.
Well, and we're houses. We're not ADA,
Right. That's
necessarily
true, yeah.
in a lot of our
Yeah,
properties.
no, yeah, because I don't know, I think everyone knows this, right? If you're in the industry, but for vacation rentals, we don't have a requirement unless it's designated as a public space, which we do have, like, 1 house, maybe 2, but definitely 1 where, it is, like, licensed or permitted as a space where you can have, like, public events,
Mhm.
and it's also permitted as a vacation rental, and so that does have, like, ADA compliant bathrooms,
Mhm.
and it has, like, ADA compliant entry and exit and stuff. But most houses that are not designated as like a public space for public gatherings, they don't have to be designated and they don't have to have all the ADA requirements. And so then when a guest might be coming and they might have needs for ADA, like we always want to meet those needs if we can. And we do, I think we still have ramps or we used to, or maybe we rented them.
We did.
We had access to things like ramps and stuff so that we can help people. But in this situation, I think they didn't wanna use the ramp because they were using the space in the garage, and they didn't want the ramp to take up the space or something, and so they wanted to see if they could just if it was a short enough little jump that they could, be able to pop something with wheels over it.
Right.
Anyway, it's like that's the kind of stuff that a hotel might have that knowledge because they are designated for ADA, where we have to sometimes go and do the research. And so, it just if the travel planner again, like, this comes down to the understanding of the differences between a hotel and a vacation rental, and I think it's like to me, it's not to say that like, "Oh, travel planners are bad," because we love travel planners and we wanna work more with them.
Well, they
But
have a different, way to have, I mean, it's not Rolodex because that's, like,
right.
from
But
1922,
yeah,
but,
no, but you and I are similar age,
yeah,
so
their book of business
yes.
is so different, and, the ones that I really enjoy working with are the ones that know, like, how I know our houses and
Yes.
homeowners, they know their clients
Yes.
as well or better
Yeah.
than.
Which, I mean, look, that's basically saying, like, you prefer to work with travel planners who are, like, professional and good at their job.
Mhm.
And I think, like, that's not a bad thing to ask.
Mhm.
Now, of course, like, there's always gonna be people that are coming new into an industry, including travel planners, and they should have, like, room to learn. I think one thing is, like, for us that we're lucky that our price point is higher, so, like, probably guests that are spending as much as they would spend booking one of our properties are gonna most often select a travel planner that has
Right,
experience. So we're usually dealing with more experienced people, but, like, not always, and I think
right,
that can be part of the thing that causes, like, a bad taste in the mouth is, like, when you're working with a travel planner who might be new and, like, they don't understand a lot of this, almost like when you work with a new real estate agent or
mhm.
something, and then that can be really hard for us too because maybe they're slightly insecure, so they're coming in a little bit like defensive, and then we're not going to get anywhere because they really don't get what they're talking about, and like that can be a
There are
bad
also
scene.
travel planners that are seasoned
Yeah.
and very, they hold their cards very close about their guest,
Yeah, you're right.
and they know their guests really, really well, but won't give us the
Yes.
information when it's like, I wanna be a partner with you.
Yeah.
Like, tell me
Right.
because I'm doing the same thing
Yeah.
on a bigger scale with
Right.
many, many other people.
Well, and I think, like, people don't travel planners might not realize this, and I don't know why they would, so it's not their fault. But before travel planners were such a big thing, because Abode has been around for, like, 18 years. So, we've been booking reservations before travel agents came back into style, and I would say maybe in the beginning they were still in style a little bit, I don't know, but I know that, like, it was kind of a big thing, I would say, like, when I was in my early 20s, like,
Mhm,
and then before that, travel planners, like, there used to be, like, travel agent offices everywhere, and it
mhm,
was, like, a really big thing. And then it kinda died off, and now it's back with the new version of Travel Planner, right? And in between that time, there were still companies that refer to themselves more as private concierge services, I
mhm,
think. So there's some of them, like, there's one in LA, I think it's out of LA, called M Level, right? Was that,
mhm,
yeah, M Level,
mhm,
and then, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting. Well, Fisher Travel is, like, a really famous one out of New York. And so there's some, wait, M Level was New York too, I think. There was the other one that was in LA, and it was, oh my gosh, I can't remember. I'm so embarrassed that I can't remember the name. It was like, oh, In Luxuria. In Luxuria, I think, was out of LA. Anyway, these companies, these private concierge companies, they're a little bit different because travel planners, if you don't know, I guess we should clarify what a travel planner
I
is.
looked it up
Okay, okay, do it.
yeah, because I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, travel planner. Is that the same thing as a
Okay, wait,
travel
let's clear
agent?"
this up, because if you're
Yes,
listening and you've been listening this whole time so far and you are like, "What the hell is a travel planner?"
right.
Thanks for staying
Or
on.
Rachel and Tilly are saying it totally wrong, and they don't
Yeah.
even understand the
Okay, wait,
semantics.
so explain it.
So I looked it up, and please come at me after this podcast for anything that I got wrong. I would love to hear that feedback because teach me. Um, so the key difference lies in how personalization is achieved. So all planners rely primarily on technology and data to scale personalization, while travel agents leverage human expertise and personal relationships to create customized
Okay,
experiences.
okay.
Travel planner companies include all of these
Oh, yeah, no,
names.
it's okay, you can say it. It's like Virtuoso,
Mhm,
it says Black Tomato.
mhm.
Like, to me, Fora Travel is, like, the one I've used, and, like, I see the most advertising, maybe that's because 'cause I've used it.
Well, and
Um,
I wish Vanessa was here because
yeah,
I would love to ask her questions
yeah.
and
Well, you could be in the next one that we do
okay,
with
okay,
Vanessa, yeah.
cool. I love her
Yeah,
too. Oh my gosh, I love her so
yeah.
much. Um,
Same.
but the remedial knowledge that I have about Fora
Yeah.
is it's like a side hustle. Like
Well, for
it's
some people, I mean, I
and
think some
I
people
could
take
be
it
totally
really
wrong.
serious. I
Yes.
think it depends. I think people can start with something like Fora Travel
Mhm,
on the side,
mhm.
and then I have actually seen a lot of people that I just follow, like, on social media and stuff, take it like it becomes
Right,
definitely
for
the,
sure.
like, Vanessa has taken that, she's top 100,
Well,
right? So it's like,
and it's work ethic too. I mean,
yeah,
you're
totally.
gonna succeed if you're a hard worker
Yeah.
and you get it and you're in sales,
Yeah.
you're gonna succeed.
Yeah.
Cast a wide net, it's all a numbers game, I get it.
Right.
But I have dealt with Fora,
Yeah.
travel agents, travel planners, I don't know.
I think it's travel planner now. I
Okay.
feel like travel agent was like the old version where they had an office and they kind
Mhm.
of upcharged.
Right.
Like, cuz in the old days, travel agents, I remember using them
Mhm.
back in the day, and it
A
was
lot of
like,
pamphlets. I
mhm,
remember
well, everything was
pamphlets.
printed,
Right.
right? Because we didn't even barely
Yeah.
have computers.
Mhm.
And then there was an upcharge. Like, they would get
Mhm.
your tickets and all your stuff, and then you would pay them something. And travel planners, generally, you're not paying them, the hotel is paying them, which this is actually what leads into
Mm.
an interesting.
Mm. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Interesting.
Like, so travel planners, like, for a travel, when I've worked with them, and I worked with Vanessa, right? And so the way it all started for me to work with Vanessa was that I was looking to plan a trip with my kids and my husband and, like, our whole family, to go to Italy and to Paris. And so it was like 3 weeks, and my husband started looking online, and I was like, "We're never
Yeah,
gonna," and
it
I
is
didn't, and I was
overwhelming,
like,
you don't
"I'm
have
too
time to do
busy,"
that,
and I
yeah.
didn't want, like, he was coming to me and being like, "How about this?" And I
Mm.
was like, "Dude, I don't wanna do this."
Yeah.
And so then I had talked to Vanessa about it. She's like, "Oh my god, I can do this for
Mhm.
you." But I was like, "Well, I wanna stay in the nicer places, so I wanna max out our budget, like, on the hotel, so I don't know if I wanna spend budget on, like, a travel planner, because I wanna put the money on, like, really
Right.
nice lodging."
Yeah.
And she was like, "No, no, no. When you work with Fora, you're not paying extra, the hotel is paying Fora. So kind of like it's like an OTA, right?
Mhm.
Like it's like almost like Airbnb or VRBO from our standpoint.
Mhm.
Or if you're a hotel, it's like your booking.com or Expedia or whatever. It's like instead of, and this is kind of the rub too, because for hotels, they tend to be paying the OTAs more like 20%, like
Mhm.
10 to 20%, I
Mhm.
think is the OTA percentage, where in vacation rentals, we're used to our percentage being more like, I don't know, 5 to 10. Like it's lower, the percentage that we pay for OTAs in vacation rentals.
And why is that?
Well, I mean, it's really because it's like a newer industry. And so when OTAs started, they were more like Craigslist.
Mhm.
And so it was like a $500 flat fee
Right.
per property on VRBO, like Craigslist,
Mhm.
basically. And then over time, Airbnb and VRBO like realized, hey, we're an OTA, just like in the hotel industry, and we could be taking a much higher percentage. So
Right.
VRBO and Airbnb acting as the OTAs in vacation rentals, they have like started to, try to inch up and get closer to that similar percentage that
Mhm.
hotel OTAs have. So the hotels are like used to this 10 to 20% commission they're paying to the distribution channel.
Mhm.
So that when they're then the way it works for a travel and these newer travel planner companies is that they're being paid, the travel planner is being paid from a percentage split
Mhm.
from the hotel, right?
Right.
And that's like easily worked out and preset within the GDS, whatever, or the system that they're using.
But our model is challenging
Well, because
because
we're not on the GDS, so
and
ours,
our
yeah,
website's transparent.
right.
So,
Yes, that's true.
your
Yeah,
clients can see exactly what we see
right.
and what we quote, and
Well,
that
and
causes
hotels, like,
contention.
have price parity,
Mhm.
required with their OTA. So, like, in hotels, there's a requirement that these other distribution channels that are charging a percent get to show the same price as the hotel's website.
Mhm.
In vacation rentals, that is not there as much. And so, like, sometimes when we have an OTA that is charging a higher percentage, we might mark up that listing by a certain amount to help us cover the cost from that OTA. And so then this is a rub too, because
Mhm.
the travel planners are used to booking hotels and having the same price that they're gonna like for a
Mhm.
travel. Like, so okay, when Vanessa was offering to help me
Yes.
with my trip and I said I don't want to pay any extra, she's like, "Oh no." She said, "Tell me what hotels you guys are looking at." So I told her. Then she told me what I would pay if I booked it through her. And it was the same or less.
Mhm.
And I was going to be getting a more upgraded room, which was like, "Oh my God, what?"
Right.
And then she was like, "And by the way, these hotels you're looking at are not my favorite, and here's why. Here's the ones from all my experience where that you should actually consider booking." And those were hotels I hadn't even thought of or found anywhere.
Mhm.
So it was like through the travel planner, she was able, and this is with hotels, of course,
Mhm.
so this is the difference. She was able to know the best options that are out there. And then she can easily look on that GDS system and tell me the price that she would have me paying. Would it be the same or what would be the difference? And then also because these travel planners, the bigger companies like Fora, they have these things worked in where there's like upgrades and stuff negotiated in. So they're going to automatically be able to give their clients an upgrade at the same price.
Right.
Well, that's amazing, right? So then the difference with vacation rental companies is that we don't have that. We're not on the GDS. We don't have like negotiated split, like a concierge, we don't have a pre-negotiated commission going to that travel planner, and we don't have a pre-negotiated upgrade or anything, which we couldn't really upgrade because a house is a house. But that's like this is the difference. And so
Mhm.
when a travel planner who's used to the hotel industry and how easy it is to go in, see the upgrade, see the price parity, and then let their client know, they don't have that with us because
Right.
we're not in the system.
Well, and when they're so I am, working all day long,
Yeah.
answering the phone, answering incoming business for Abode.
Yep.
And when a travel agent, travel planner reaches out, my hesitation a lot of times is like they're asking me to do all of this extra work
Right.
of like, send me white labeled
Yeah.
information. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't have that
Well,
technology.
so okay, let's explain that because
Yeah.
that's really important. So, because like this just kind of came up the other day, I feel like.
Hmm.
So we'll have these like really cool travel planners reach out to us and they want to work with us, which we want them to want to work with us. But then their request will be, can you please send me the properties that you have available during these dates for my client that fit these criteria? It has to be more than 4 bedrooms and it has to be all ensuite bathrooms and we want it near the ski resort, whatever their criteria
Which
are.
even that information that you're saying is
Yeah.
a lot more than I've
Right.
gotten
A
in
lot
the
of times they're
past.
not even
They don't
giving that.
know how many adults and kids and
Right.
couples and all this. I mean, there are very standard questions, very few that I ask. One of the big ones is, if you're coming to Park City, are you a snowboarder?
Right.
Do you have the Icon or the Epic Pass? Because that is
That's
one of
gonna
the
determine where you
issues.
wanna like, what
Yeah.
resort you're gonna wanna be
Mhm,
near.
mhm.
Yeah, and so the travel planners coming to us, they have these requirements, And then, they want us to come back, like Tilly, they want her to come back to them with the properties that we have available that match their criteria. But it can't be like Tilly just sends them the link to the listing on our website, because they don't want that guest, their client, to go to our website, because they want that client to book directly through them so they get a commission. And because for us, our split with the homeowner is like 30 to 35%, we can't just pay them 20%,
Right.
because as a company, like, we need some of this revenue in order to, like,
Yeah. Keep the lights
operate.
on.
Yeah, and really we net less than 10%, like net after everything, like after overhead. And so essentially when we give them the 20%, like, we're gonna net almost nothing. We're probably gonna be, like, losing money on that deal. And so we tend to need to mark things up a little. So, like, what we would do is we would tell that travel planner, we would give them rates, but we would bump those rates up by whatever percentage, so that in a way that commission that the travel planner is getting covered by the guest, at least partially. And then that's how we can make that all work financially. And so that even more incentivizes that travel planner does not want us to share the links, because they're not going to give their guest, their client, the links, because the client would then go on our website and see the same house for less money, right? So they want us to send them the photos of the house, the description, and all the details, but, like, in the body of an email, not with a link. So then that travel planner is just sharing sort of that basic information about the
Mhm.
property without saying who manages the property, so that hopefully the guest would not be able the client of theirs slash would be our guest, won't be able to go online and find the listing. And of
Right.
course they could, because you could
Sure.
just use Google Photos or
Right.
whatever. But anyway, so the work changes from being like, here's 4 links to
Mhm.
4 properties where you could see if your client likes these, to going into the folder of images and pulling all these images, putting them into the body of an email, copy and pasting all the data for these 4 times if it's 4 properties. It's like hours of work that, is then like our salespeople, reservation salespeople like Tilly, have to compile those emails, share it to the travel planner, and then this travel planner might not even book.
Right.
So now it's just like it's
Spinning my
lost.
wheels.
Yeah. And so you can see, I feel like, hearing it like explained this way, it's like it becomes really work intensive for, potentially little to no profit.
Mhm.
And it's hard to understand, like, how you can make this all work,
Right.
because it's like we don't want to hurt their relationship with their client. We're not trying to force them to go to our website. It's just like we need a better way.
And we don't want a bad rap
Right.
either. We don't
Right.
want, all the travel planners when they
Right.
go in their travel planner,
Mhm.
conferences to be like, "Oh yeah, Abode." Mhm.
Which
It
I worry that
Yeah, I know.
happens.
Call us Adobe then.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's really hard. And this has been the issue that we've had for
Right.
years and
Because they
years.
get mad. They're like,
Right.
"Why can't you send this to me?" Because I
Right.
can
We
barely log into LinkedIn.
Right. It's
Like,
like, well, and it's also just because, like, we don't keep the raw data for
right.
each property. There's not like folders of raw data for each property. That's not just, I mean, and maybe we should be doing that. I don't know. But to me, it seems like there's got to be a better way.
Mhm.
Right. And to
Right.
me, the better way is, maybe one, there's a way for the GDS to be revised or to have an additional component added where there'd be functionality to allow for vacation rental type listings to be added into the GDS
Mhm.
system in a way that would make it easier for travel planners to show those listings without us having to go get all the raw data for each property. Because, again, also for our properties, like, raw data changes, photos get updated, people
Oh
remodel a
my
house, they
gosh,
change
yes.
furniture. So it's like, it's not just like static data that stays the same for years and years. Like, it's kind of always in a flow state of
Mhm.
flux.
Yep.
And so there's this inherent rub of
Mhm.
like, what do we do? Like, we really want to show these travel planners like a good, easy experience for them to be able to
Mhm.
book the properties that we manage for their clients. But we don't know how to make that work because we can't fit into their software system. And yet it doesn't really make sense for us to one off compile raw data every single time.
Mhm.
And also when we compile the raw data, like, it's just in a body of an email. It's not going to make the house look
No.
the way it needs to look.
Mm-mm. And I empathize. I know it is not an easy job.
Right.
It is, I mean,
It's
I
like
can't imagine.
it's like they're actually like a travel planner is actually like taking a leap
Mhm.
into a bunch of like a messy hardship
Yes, yes.
for them to like try and come and even think about suggesting a vacation rental property to their guests, to
Right.
their client. But yet, a lot of people want a vacation rental because like if it's a big group, they don't want a bunch of hotel rooms.
Mhm.
So like the travel planner is doing us a favor by even bringing this up to their client.
Right.
And then I'm sure that they can sometimes feel like, oh, great, you're making this so hard for me. And we
Mhm.
feel like, I know, but I don't have another way to do it.
Right.
It's like there has to be a way. So this is why I feel like I periodically get obsessed with this topic, which is why I decided to make a season about it. And we still haven't found the answers. But the personality that I have, that does not mean to me that there is no answer. It just
Mhm.
means no one else has found it yet. So like maybe we'll find it. Or
Yeah.
at least maybe we'll work on finding it. And while we're working on it, someone else will find it and
Right.
then we'll use their answer. Okay. We have some more questions I'm going to go back to.
Mhm.
I put like what seems like the reasons that make reservations through a travel planner difficult. Well, we just answered that. Like I think we just went through like what are the reasons that it seems like it's hard for travel planners to book with vacation rentals. I
Mhm.
think that's like what we just covered essentially, right?
The perception that I have is, it's kinda like the honeymoon phase is really strong at the beginning
Yeah.
because they're very excited to talk to us.
Mhm.
The thrill of the hunt is very alive and well, and then once the booking does happen, when the going gets hard,
Right.
a lot of times the travel planner is nowhere to be found
Yeah. Yeah.
until they're like, "Where's my check?"
Uh-huh.
And then they're right back in your pocket.
Yeah.
So it's a relationship, and
Mhm.
so we need to be together the whole time.
Yeah.
Also, we need your client's information.
Yeah.
Period. There are way too many stories that we could tell
Mhm.
about a water leak, a fire alarm going off, needing to get in touch with the guest
Yeah.
while they're here, and our responsibility.
Yep.
We need their information.
And so the travel like this is the it's like kind of like real estate to me.
Mhm.
It's like the travel planner is like and I understand why. They're protecting their client information because they don't want us to go and try to book with their client in the
Right.
future and to go around them. And I would say I feel like we've been incredibly loyal. Like anyone who could talk to any of the guests that have stayed with us and or talk to the travel planners that worked like that were the planner for those guests. There's some guests that we have, and some of these guests like are people that spend one or $200,000 a year with us on vacation rentals, and they're very loyal to us. But they book through their travel planner, and we know that, and so we always are super careful to only like this is training we've had on our team where everyone on our sales team knows when you're booking a guest that has come through a travel planner in the past, you're always going to that travel planner first. Like even if the guest reaches out to us separate, we will still like check in with that travel planner and be like, "Hey, your client so and so just reached out to us directly. I just wanted to check in with you because if, it's your client, so if you want to get involved and like let them hash that out with the client so that they have the chance to be the one working with their client." Cuz to
Right.
me it is I think of it like real estate transaction where it's like if someone has a relationship with a real estate agent, you really need to like honor that and like protect it for that real estate agent as much as you can. And then if that potential buyer or whatever, or if like for us, that potential guest, if they at some point are like, I'm not working with that agent anymore,
Mhm.
that travel planner, whatever, then it's like I want them to work that out with their agent or their travel planner first and then come to us because we don't want to go around.
Mm-mm.
And so, but I can understand why travel planners are scared about that.
Right.
Because they're probably thinking, well, why don't you just go to the guest if you could? And it's like, we actually don't care. Like, we're fine to
Mhm.
work through you if you're going to make it like copacetic. We're not going to try and steal a guest. Like,
Right.
because if a travel planner, if we have a good relationship, and some of these like private concierge companies, like we talked about a little bit earlier, like they bring us multiple guests over
Mhm.
time. So it's like the relationship with the travel planner is actually very valuable if it goes
Mhm.
well. So we wouldn't want to go around that. But I
And
do
and it's
understand their fear.
very, very few guests turn over to us. I
Right.
mean, it's
If they're using a planner, it's because they
right.
find that easier. Like,
Yes.
they're not trying to, like, cause more like, it's look, to me, it's like, especially with Fora Travel or the private concierge companies, these are high net worth individuals. Like, they're going through these planners or these concierge people because they don't wanna deal with it. So
Correct.
it's like, we're not trying to our whole thing is that the guest has an amazing experience. So if them having an amazing experience,
Right.
includes not booking their own travel, like,
Mhm.
I hear that loud and clear. I'm
Mhm.
all for it. So, like, we're not trying to make their experience
Right.
worse by making them get into the mud with us and, like, figure all the details out.
That's why it helps to have so much information from the travel
Right.
planner of what kind of group is it? Is
Yeah.
it multi-generational? Is it a business trip?
Yes.
All of that stuff helps so much
Yeah.
for us to curate the right property
Right.
and then
And
make them
see,
succeed.
this goes back to the GDS too, because it's like the travel planner companies, like, through the GDS, through their arrangements, like, contracts with the hotel brands, they have these arrangements that protect the travel planner and the hotel, right? So there's
Mhm.
like arrangements on who can share data, remarket, all that stuff. So then in that case, the travel planner isn't having to like protect their client information when they talk to the hotel. They're going to openly provide that
Mhm.
information to the hotel because there's protections in place.
Mhm.
But because we don't have a method, we don't have like a true link through the GDS or any other system, it's like Wild West, one-off
Right.
relationships, like one-off arrangements. So the travel planners are going to inherently be more afraid about
Yes.
protecting their client data, which I get.
Mhm.
But then it puts us, like Tilly said, at a huge disadvantage because the lack of client information means that while the client is in house or right before they're about to come, we need to communicate with them, and not for the purposes of taking that guest away from the travel planner by any means, but strictly because like we need to make sure they're going to have a good experience. We're going to make sure that if they want an early arrival, the house is ready for them, or the late checkout, or if they have specific requirements, or even if they're just like letting us know before they come that like it's grandma's birthday or whatever,
Mhm.
and we can have some special stuff like balloons and a cake for grandma or whatever the case may be. I don't know, someone in the family really likes extra blankets and we're going to put those in that
Right.
room or whatever it is. And so it's like if we have the contact with the guests, we can make their experience better. And a lot of times with the travel planner, when they're working with vacation rentals, they're trying to protect that client information, but therefore it's making it
It's
hard.
impeding the guest
Yeah.
experience.
And like what Tilly said, like worst case scenario, let's say there's like a flood or a fire alarm goes off or something.
Or an allergy.
Yeah, it could
Somebody's
be like
allergic to,
anything.
I don't know, air.
Right, or like, I don't know, the ice maker stuff, like anything,
Yes.
right? And then the guest doesn't have a way to talk to us because maybe the travel planner is like, "Oh, just call me and I'll call the
Mhm.
vacation rental company." And then we don't have the guest information, so maybe like we're getting a water sensor alarm saying that there's, potentially a leak in the house, and then we're trying to go over to the house, but maybe they're not there at the time. There's just a lot of things that can happen where having the client information is really important. We definitely understand why the travel planner would protect that information,
Mhm.
but also like the reason for us to have it is more important, I think, than people can realize. So that's like a whole other reason why it can be
Correct.
difficult.
We also need to protect the homeowner.
Right.
And so
1,000%. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
so
So like if there's a flood,
mhm.
like we have, many reasons to deal with that, not only to protect the guest from a bad experience dealing with, a flooded bathroom or something, but also because, yeah, the homeowner is relying on us to protect that property and we don't want
Right.
water damage simply because we weren't given guest
Mhm.
contact information.
We vet our guests, and so we need to still have the confidence that either
Yeah.
the travel planner is or we're doing it ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. I had another question about stories about working through the travel planner and then when a third party is involved. Because I think that this is like a
Mhm.
really another issue.
Mhm.
And again, this ties back to the GDS problem. Because what happens here is when the travel planners they don't have access to look at all the properties through the GDS. So sometimes in order to have more trust and not just go online and like Wild West it and just like, do a Google search for like properties, they'll go through a third party it's like a destination management type company. So some of them are called like Alpine Adventures or ski.com or some of these companies, these are the ones like in our markets where they're sort of like this third party and they're like considered an expert on the market. And a lot of times those companies are used for group travel, but they can also they have relationships because of doing group travel. They have relationships with travel planners. And so the travel planner might go to that third party in order to kind of get a recommendation of like what houses should we look at if we're going to do vacation rentals. And so because we've been around for a long time as a business, those third parties will often recommend Abode. But what's happening in that situation is that the guest is going to a travel planner. The travel planner is then going to the third party destination management company.
Mhm.
And then that place is coming to us. So what that means is that there's a commission that has to be paid to the travel planner and also to that third party. And then that's all coming out of the commission that, Abode would receive. So it's hard. It's hard for the guest to be paying the best price in that
Mhm.
situation because there's so many layers of commission added on. It's also even more impossible with the communication. And I was
Mhm.
going to let Tilly
Yes.
tell you, I mean, you know which ones I'm talking about, right? Okay.
Correct, and a lot of times what will happen is I'll try to get the guest information and it'll just be the other
Mhm.
third party. Also expectations aren't always set,
Right.
and so that's very challenging, like, for our concierge staff, like,
Yep.
the, third party's telling the guests one thing, and then the concierge has to be the bad news
Yeah.
person, and that is not a success being, happening.
Well, because the third party companies are not always in the destination or like not everyone working for them.
Right.
So there'll be like a company like, say, Alpine Adventures. I think that they're based out of Colorado. And so like a company like that, they're really well versed in these mountain destinations, and they are, they do a lot of group travel in mountain destinations. So they do know the area, right? But they're not necessarily local. And so when they're like advising the travel planner who will then advise the same information to the guest, they're talking like in a more general way and probably from the standpoint of more group travel
Mhm.
type, situations. Whereas like a one-off family versus like say a group of 30 people traveling or 50, like in more typical group travel, you might have different options available to you for like activities.
Mhm.
And then when they're sharing that version of the information for certain activities through for a travel or the travel planner to the guest, then the guest is like, they like Tilly said, they have this expectation of like how this will go and what the pricing might be. And then it might be super different,
Mhm.
especially depending on like seasonality and like, yeah. And so I think that's like another issue is that there's this third layer a lot, which
Or they'll piecemeal
mhm,
with multiple short-term vacation rental companies.
yes.
And so now we have like 5 of the guests,
Yeah.
5 more put somewhere else. And so each group is having a totally different experience
Yeah.
because it's shooting,
Yeah.
in spitting in the wind, spitting
Yeah.
in the wind.
Well, and it's like because, they're used to maybe they're booking a few families, like one travel planner is booking a few families at one time. And if they were doing it the regular way through the GDS for hotels, they'd
Mhm.
be putting them in different rooms in a hotel, right?
Right.
But now they're like, "Hey, we wanna rent houses."
Mhm.
And so they're putting them in these different houses managed by different companies who handle concierge differently. And they're, of course, the travel planner is trying to smooth it all out, but it's really hard because the system and like the software is not in place to allow that, like, consistent flow. I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like we're kind of, like, giving a bitch fest, but I also feel like I think this information is really good for anyone to know. Like, if you're a vacation rental company and you haven't been using travel planners as, like, a distribution channel, it's definitely something to look at,
Mhm.
especially if you're in a market with higher price points, like higher nightly rates, because the travel planner clients are generally people that are spending a little bit more,
Mhm.
and so it's a great way to access some different customers. And when you work with a good travel planner, it
Mhm.
can be, like Tilly said, it can be, like, amazing, but if you haven't done it, like, I think this is a good eye opener to things that could happen.
And a good travel planner working with a good vacation rental company,
Yeah,
my ideal would be, let's all trust each other.
right. Totally.
There's plenty of fish in the barrel or
Right.
whatever, monkeys, I don't know. Um,
Monkeys
like
and fish.
we're all kind of doing the same
Mhm,
job. I'm an expert in Park City, Jackson Hole, and Sun Valley for our properties.
mhm.
And I've said so many times, I just wish that either the travel planner would trust me
Yep.
with their guest or, you know, take my 5 questions, ask the people. We have one travel planner that it makes the process so much slower because they will have one question
Yeah,
and we answer it. Then the guest comes back with another question. Then they send us the question.
yeah.
It's just
It's
this.
again, like because they wanna
Ugh,
protect the client, they wanna make sure that the client won't deal directly with us, but it's like, we want them to know they could trust us to
right.
talk directly to the guest, but
Mhm.
then I feel bad because we don't have the same arrangements and contracts in place that they would have with a hotel through their arrangements using their regular system, and so I think, like, that's part of the answer here, is that we need a system wherein the travel planners can have like set arrangements with us so that
Mhm.
they can then feel
Right.
comfortable allowing us to talk with the guests,
Get
knowing
on a
that
three-way call. I'm
right.
happy to do
Yeah,
that
or
too.
just like if we had a contract in place saying
Mhm.
that we would commit to not be, like, working with these clients
Right.
around them. Like, for instance, I think it's Marriott. It's either Marriott or Hilton. I'm feel bad or Hyatt that I think it's Marriott. One of those companies, like, they do a lot of vacation rental bookings or some now. I think it's
It
Marriott.
is Marriott.
Okay, so
Homes
there's,
and
like,
villas.
Homes and Villas,
Yes.
Marriott Homes and Villas. So we've been part of that program for a while, but we're kind of back all in recently.
To
And
do their
there's
points. They use their
yes,
points.
so that
Yes.
people can use their points to
Yes.
book vacation rentals. And as part of our agreement with them, we have to make sure that we don't market to the guests that come to us through Marriott Homes and Villas. So, like, we have to protect that client information within our software to, like, turn off the automatic marketing emails that would go out.
But I did have a guest reach out. It
Yeah,
was the first time I'd seen this where they were inquiring through Marriott Homes and
yeah,
Villas, and Marriott sent an email with the guest's email
yeah,
information before the booking and just said, "This client's wondering these questions.
yeah,
Please answer them for them."
right.
And great.
Yeah. And so, but like, when you have this contractual obligation and your boundaries are set essentially, then, Marriott says, okay, we're going to work with you about luxury rentals. Here's our regulations. And then we say, okay, we'll go into our automatic CRM marketing system and we will uncheck or whatever it is, check the boxes, uncheck the boxes so that those guests that book through that do not automatically get marketing from Abode, right? So that those guests will only be pushed through after if they're coming to us through Marriott, they stay a Marriott client
Mhm.
first and foremost, which is fine,
Mhm.
right? And then the travel planners, they don't have that because we don't have these contracts in place,
Mhm.
which we would like if we were doing distribution through the GDS or something like that, could have a requirement that we sign paperwork, right? And we protect the boundaries so that the guests that are coming through that channel, just like the guests that come through the Marriott Homes and Villas channel are protected, the guests that would come through that channel could be protected so that that relationship stays strong through that travel planner, right? So I get that like the travel planners don't have that and they're worried.
Mhm.
And my frustration is like, well, how do we set that up?
Right.
Like, can't we just tell me what we need to do? Like,
Mhm.
do they come in? Do we set it up through booking.com or booking pal? Or do we set it up through, I don't know, through Guesty or through whatever it is? Like, what's the channel that we need to create with the boundaries that the travel planners would need so that the end result is number one, yes, of course, that we have more leads and more opportunity for bookings, but also so that the travel planner have the boundaries that they
Right.
need. Cause it's like, they're not asking too much and we're not providing it because we don't want to. It's just like we don't have a model. We don't have like a platform. We don't have the
The SOP or whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Everything isn't set up where
Yes.
we can offer them that protection. Okay,
Yep.
what about cool things you have
Mhm.
seen a travel planner do for a guest?
So, and I have to give accolades to my colleague Chance. He helped out a lot with, just kind of collaboration on what we've all seen in the past. There is a company out of Brazil that we really, really enjoy working with.
Okay.
When they reach out to us, when they email us, they're very kind. They're, hey, how's it going,
Yeah.
team? Great to, reach back out to you, all of that.
What
They,
what are they called? Do you know what they're called?
it is TTW Group Brazilian Travel Agency.
Okay, we should like tag them when we post about this.
Mhm.
Okay.
So they always ask for us to write a handwritten
I
note
love that.
and they give us the verbiage that they wanted to say and we are more than happy to put it
Yeah.
in the property. I mean it's that kind of collaboration that we
Yes.
are happy to do because
Right.
again it goes back to we want the guests to have the best
Yeah.
experience no
And they
matter how
get
they
it.
got here.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, you can tell then. It's like that company obviously, and I would say probably because they're probably booking what, Brazilian guests, right? Or no?
Not always.
Okay. Because
No.
I was gonna say, like, maybe they feel more protected because they're coming from Brazil. They know that, like, we're not really in competition for their guests.
Right.
And so they like feel comfortable. So then you take away that fear, which I think is like the crux of the problem.
Mhm.
Because without contracts, without a process in place, without like agreements to who's going to market to who,
Right.
then everyone's kind of freaked out, which I totally get. Especially if someone's like just starting their travel planner business and they only have a few clients, they want to
Mhm.
make sure those people stay with them.
Right.
And it's like, how do they know they can trust us not to
Mhm.
take it? And then, some of these companies, like the one that Tilly was just talking about, I want to say it again. What's the name of it?
TTW.
Okay. TTW Group, Brazilian travel agency.
Yep.
So someone like that, clearly, like they understand they have a solid relationship with their clients. They're
Mhm.
clearly not worried about it.
Right.
So then that allows for this whole thing to go so much better.
Correct.
Just like it's
That's the
clearly
end
this is
game.
the rub. Like
Yes.
this is the center of it, right? So it's
Yes.
like, is anyone listening? There might only be like 2 people that ever hear this, right? Or maybe 2 million. I don't know. Maybe this one will like take off and go viral. But to me, it's like if anyone is listening, if anyone has ideas on this front, or
Mhm.
if there's anyone that like wants to work on this, if anyone's as interested as I am, like I want to know because I just feel like it's not impossible. It can't be that hard. Like there has got to be a way to make this work. And I think it just hasn't been a priority because vacation rentals are new. And it's like even the fact that we have OTA channels like VRBO and Airbnb at the level that they're at, like this is new. Like it's
Mhm.
not that long ago that VRBO was like $500 per property per year. That's
Right.
it, which is a totally different model. And it's only in like since COVID that things really ramped up. So I think it is a matter of time before this gets figured out. But I'm not willing to just like sit on my hands and wait for someone else. So I feel like I want to try.
Mhm.
But I also know there must be other people out there that want this as much as I do. I bet you there's travel planners that want this figured out because there's probably a decent amount of travel planners that love putting their guests in vacation rental homes because
Mhm.
they've had good experiences. And so they're like, how can I have
Right.
a better way?
Or they're struggling because they don't know our market.
Right.
We are the experts in that field.
Yeah.
And so it would just make sense to work together.
Yes.
We want to be on the same side.
Totally. And then the last question I had was, what's your favorite travel planners you ever worked with? Which I guess we said one of them. Do you have
And
another one?
there's another one, Shelton and James based out
Oh,
of Canada.
okay.
Yep.
Shelton. I didn't know that one.
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so I mean, I think we'll have to make sure we do a shout out somehow to maybe we should like send those ones gifts. I feel like we should to thank them.
Sure.
And I think if anyone is listening to this and if you see us post about it or if you want to just reach out even on email, like I would love to hear about other travel planner companies
Mhm.
that other vacation rental companies have worked with that like it goes really well and
Right.
it's like an
If
easy
you've cracked the
situation.
code, if you have
Yeah,
ideas and wanna implement them with
right.
us, like, we're
Yeah.
game.
And then also if there are travel planners that ever hear this, hopefully there will be some that are like, I really want to figure this out. Cause
Mhm,
to me, like if we can get a group of us who are interested in trying to figure this out better than it's been figured out so
mhm,
far, then I think we should work together.
mhm,
Cause as far as I can tell, like there are some ways this has worked. There's One Fine Stay,
mhm.
which is a sort of like a wholesaling vacation rental company, but I think they also manage some properties, but they also wholesale and they're kind of international. I think the ownership of One Fine Stay is related to Fora Travel. Like there's some collaboration there. I'm not exactly sure. So I'm pretty sure that One Fine Stay can have an easier time working with the travel planners because of that relationship.
There is a challenge with money, though.
Right.
That's, like, with
The
us
commissions.
well, no,
Oh.
paying. So,
Oh yeah.
there's a whole thing about, like, because they wire the
Mhm.
payment, it's very hard to do a quick
Yeah.
booking.
Yeah.
So, we've
Because it
had
takes some
guests
days.
in-house where we're like, "Where's the money? They've been
Yeah.
here for 2 days," and they
Yeah.
have to wire it from Canada or wherever that
Uh-huh.
it takes a while. So,
Yeah, it's like
those
these
kinds of
little
things.
it's like the operational stuff,
Right.
honestly.
Yes.
And it's like because One Fine Stay does a decent amount of work with travel planners, like it's
Mhm.
possible, right? And
Mhm.
I think there's a company, I think it's called, is it Exclusive Resorts or there's a couple other companies that do a significant amount of bookings for vacation rentals with travel planners. And
Mhm.
like in some ways you could say that they crack the code. My issue with those companies, and I mean, I don't have an issue really with them, but I would say it's generally done in a way that's, like, very protected because,
Mhm.
of course, like, they wanna maintain the fact that they can do that however they worked it out, and they're not, like, sharing with anyone. They're kind of
Mhm.
like, "We have a way to do this, so don't tell anyone else, like, it's just us." And I get that, like, because business is business,
Mhm.
but also, at some point, like, this needs to be about, first and foremost, the guest
Correct.
experience and
Yes.
not just about, like, who controls client information, who controls, like, the flow of information and the access to these different distribution channels. And I get like in the beginning days of this kind of stuff, there's protection over these things. But like at some point, okay, like it's going to happen for everyone. And do you really want to be the bad guy that was like hoarding it? I don't know. I guess if your only motivation is just like strictly getting as rich as you can, then I think you'd probably be fine with it. But I just feel like, sure, I want to get rich. Like I want this company to do well and I want us to make a profit. But also, it just seems dumb that the traveler does not have access to all the options out there
Mhm.
because there's, like, a lot of gatekeeping going on.
An ego.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I just think the gatekeeping, like, kind of enough is enough. Like, there's enough travelers out
Mhm.
there. There's room for everybody at the table. There's all different, levels of service and levels of properties, and I just think the time for, like, gatekeeping all this stuff and protecting it, it's
Our
over.
ice maker's working,
Yeah,
just
just we
if
are
you're hearing
literally
that.
in the break room, and you
Mhm.
might have just heard the
Yeah,
fridge.
yeah. I'm gonna heat my soup up after this. And then also we like, just as the travel planners are protecting their guests, I wanna reiterate, we are protecting our homeowners
Right,
too. So
yeah,
it's just as I mean, we each have skin in the
yeah.
game, and, we'd like
It's
to
all
play on the same
worthwhile.
field.
Right, yeah. Just like a hotel would be protecting their own investment, like the owners of the hotel are gonna similar, right? So, yeah, okay, I feel like I don't feel like we'd actually I was hoping that we weren't gonna, like, beat a dead horse.
But
I
just be
don't
a big wet blanket negative and all that
I don't
stuff.
think we are, though.
No.
I feel like we're just,
Mm-mm.
like, scratching the surface,
Yeah,
starting the
and
conversation.
being vulnerable of like, tell
Right.
us how to do this because
Yes.
we don't want to not work with you. Like,
Right.
how are we? Because we know how we see it.
Yeah.
We see it this way. If we're missing something, if you have different ideas, or if you have questions about like, what should I present to you? What are the things that would help? I mean, it's going to help in the long run, not just with calling us. It's going to help your guest feel heard and validated and know
Yeah.
that they're going to have a good
For travel
experience.
planners,
Yes.
totally.
We're a
Yeah.
very small I mean, we have 3 markets in
Right.
the West.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's
That's
just
it.
our little bubble, but,
Right.
like, yeah, I just think there's so much more that could be done in this
Mhm.
arena. Alright, so we're just starting the conversation now, but I'm sure we're gonna keep it going. I feel like Tilly and I should do more episodes together on this topic, and I wanna bring in travel planners too, and I just feel like, I don't know, no one's talking about this enough. That's what I think. I think it's just something that if we all talked about it just a little more in our industry and in the travel planner industry, it could be solved like really easy.
Yep.
And I think it's just like maybe some like overbearing gatekeeping that's kind of stopped it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's time to just like break open the gates and let's make some
Teach
progress.
us. We'll teach you.
Yes.
Everyone's teaching and learning.
So this is just the start of this conversation because now we have 9 more episodes on this topic.
Yay.
Yeah. So we can go like very deep and wide on this. Okay. So in the meantime, though, thanks for listening. Make sure to come back because I think the next episode is when we will have Vanessa Cella, who is one of the top 100 Fora travel planners.
And she's gorgeous.
She is also gorgeous.
Please tune in. She is so easy to look at.
So if you're listening, we do take video for each episode. So I'm not exactly sure where you can see the video. Like I have seen podcasts with video on Spotify, which is like kind of new. And then I think we put them on YouTube, but I'm not sure. I should know that. I'll check on it. But there is video for each episode, and I'll try to make sure to like put in the show notes because the show notes would show up even if you're looking at like Apple Podcasts or whatever, or listening to Apple Podcasts. I'm pretty sure in the show notes we could put like a link to places where it would be, the video would be. And then we do have like social media and a LinkedIn for the Hospitality Breakroom. So we'll try to post some of this so it'll be easy to find where the video stuff is in case anyone wants to see it. I don't think they want to see me, but probably they would want to see Tilly and definitely Vanessa. And if you heard like what sounded like a dog shaking in the background,
It's little Nelly.
that's Nelly.
It's
And
little
see,
Nelly.
you should
Do you
let
wanna-
Nelly be in the video because then if you
There's
watch the video,
Nelly.
you could see Nelly
There's
the
a
Wonder
little
Dog
Nelly Furtada.
because we have a lot of dogs in our office, even in the break room because they're just so cute.
Yes.
So anyway, thanks for listening. Please come back for the next episode. And thanks for listening to the Hospitality Break Room. Thanks for listening to the Hospitality Break Room. This season, we're exploring how the vacation rental industry and travel planners can work better together, and we're just getting started. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And if you found this conversation valuable, share it with someone in hospitality or travel. We'll see you next time in the break room.